Fear, false evidence appearing real. Wow. I think sometimes we forget that, the things that we fear, the things that we hang on to, the energy that keeps us a little bit blocked and stopped is just a shadow. There's nothing real about it. It's false evidence appearing real. There is the story of the cave, which Plato begins by, having Socrates ask Glaucon to imagine a cave where people have been imprisoned from childhood, but not from birth. These prisoners are chained so that their legs and necks are fixed, forcing them to gaze at the wall in front of them and not to look around the cave at each other or themselves. And behind the prisoners is a fire. Now, between the fire and the prisoners is a raised walkway with a low wall, behind which people walk carrying objects or puppets of men or other living things. The people walk behind the wall so their bodies do not cast shadows for the prisoners to see, but the objects they carry do. The prisoners cannot see any of what is happening behind them. They are only able to see the shadows cast upon the cave wall in front of them. The sounds of the people talking echo off the walls. The prisoners believe these sounds come from the shadows. Socrates suggests that the shadows are reality for the prisoners because they have never seen anything else. They do not realize that what they see are shadows of objects in front of a fire, much less that these objects are inspired by real things outside the cave, which they do not see. Socrates then supposes that the prisoners are released. A freed prisoner would look around and see the fire. The light would hurt his eyes and make it difficult for him to see the objects casting the shadows. If he were told that what he is seeing is real, instead of the other version of reality he sees on the wall, he would not believe it. In his pain, Socrates continues, the freed prisoner would turn away and run back to what he is accustomed to. What he is accustomed to. We look at the world around us and we believe that everything that we see is real, that it's what has power, it is what has meaning. But what if everything we see around us is merely the shadow of a previously held idea? That it's already been formed. And that in order to form something new, we must look in a new direction. As we go within, as we look within ourselves, we begin to see a pathway forward that is very different than maybe what we've been seeing projected in front of us. Socrates goes on to say, suppose that someone should drag him by force up the rough ascent, the steep way up, and never stop until he dragged him out into the light of the sun. The prisoner would be angry and in pain, and this would only worsen when the radiant light of the sun overwhelms him and blinds him. Slowly, his eyes adjust to the sun. First, he can see only shadows. Gradually, he can see the reflections of people and things in water, and then later see the people and things themselves. Eventually, he's able to look at the stars and the moon at night until finally he can look upon the sun itself. Only after he can look straight at the sun is he able to reason about it and what it is. You see, as we begin to awaken, as we begin to recognize that everything we see, touch, and feel has already been created, but was created from the imagination, was created from the divine within us. Everything comes from the infinite. Everything comes from the source of creation, this divine intelligence. Everything comes from there. So when we look at the world around us and say things like, I'll believe it when I see it, truth is, we're not going to see it until we do believe it. There's a shift that has to take place. And when we shift our consciousness from doing to being, we allow ourselves to go back to that infinite source of and that well of wisdom that is within us so that we might create that which is ready to be birthed. something new, something beautiful, something wonderful. Life is happening through each and every one of us. And as we acknowledge that and recognize that, we can begin to live in a little bit different way. We can start to look at the world at what it really is, that everything that's already created is in the process of deterioration. Everything, right? Everything starts off young and new and beautiful and fancy. And then over time, it changes, it gets a little darker, duller, and things pass away. People, animals, items, everything changes. Just like our opening song, everything must change. The reality is, everything is changing. Everything is changing. And sometimes we're not fond of change. Okay, all the time we're not fond of change. We tend to look at change and go, oh no, not this again. But the truth is that change is the constant. It is the thing that is moving us forward. It's the very thing that brings us fulfillment, satisfaction, joy, and well-being. It is absolutely essential that we find a way to accept change as it comes. Accept the change as it comes. Keep in mind that when we came into this life experience, we were created in the image likeness of the Creator. We were created perfect, whole, and complete. We came in with a little something, something that we do that no one else can do, and that is essential to the unfolding of the universe at this time. So who you are and the gift that you bring, it's not optional, it's essential. We need it. We need you in this world right now, being you, sharing your light, your gift, your talent, because you bring something, a little something, something that no one else can bring at this particular time in the way that you bring it. And we need it. We need it. We need you. Realizing that each one of us is enough, realizing that each one of us is created, unique, and special, that can sometimes go against what we've been taught or what we've been told from the time we were little tiny babies coming into the world. And maybe our parents decided that, you know, they wanted us to be a doctor or a lawyer or a historian or, you know, a realtor or whatever. But the truth is, we're called to something different. We're called to be a singer or a pianist or a music producer, or we're called to be a minister, an architect. Or maybe we're just choose to be a mother and a grandmother, a father. Listening to the calling of our own heart, our own path, is what's important on this life journey. When we come to recognize that we are part of something much bigger, that there is in fact only one thing going on, which we can call God or spirit or universe, first cause. We can call it late for dinner. Oh no, don't do that. We can call it whatever we want. The fact of the matter is, whatever name we use cannot describe it. Can't describe it because it's infinite. It's beyond the scope of our finite experience and expression. So as we move into this day and as we move into this week, as we move into living life more authentically and more open than we have in the past, getting comfortable with change is really an important part. The other thing that's important is to really shine the light that each one of us has inside of us. We have to let go of what was, the good, the bad, and the ugly, let go of it all, and stand in this moment as brand new. Stand in this moment as if this is the only moment that has ever existed for you. That nothing else has ever happened that mattered, that what matters is now. And what matters now is that I go within and I listen to that divine spark within me. And I allow it to move. I allow it to grow, to get loud. I allow it life. You know that song we used to sing years ago when we were little kids? Or maybe we still sing it in church sometimes. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. There is within you, within each one of us, there is a spark, a divine spark. And that's that light that we all have. And when we stop looking at the shadows, when we stop fearing what might happen someday, somewhere down the line, when we start living from that divine essence within, we start to flourish. Life becomes easier, more peaceful. We are relaxed and more centered, available to spirit, available to really expand and grow. It's time to go inward, to take time every day in silence and in doing spiritual mind treatment, to take time to remind ourselves of who we really are, that we are created perfectly. And it doesn't matter what that looks like. I know that you are enough, that you are a blessing and a gift, that you are all that you've ever needed to be, all you will never need to be, that everything you have need of, you already have it. You came into this life with it. And so we turn to it now. We turn to that essence and we listen. We listen to that still small voice, you know, that voice of intuition that says, oh, hey, why don't you call Mary? And you think, whoa, I haven't talked to Mary in years. Can't really call now because it's been so long. No. The intuition was call Mary. Follow it. Follow the guidance of that inner spark. Follow the guidance of that imagination that you have. You know, electric cars didn't exist until somebody imagined they could. Skyscrapers, giant condominiums never existed until somebody said, hey, we could build up instead of out. We could house more people that way. The idea of a chair. Where did chair come from? Well, somebody got to an age where they didn't like sitting on the ground or on a stone, so they made a chair. Imagination moves us forward. Imagination is the creative faculty that allows us to create from the invisible that which will become visible. You see, the journey that we're on is not by accident, but it is absolutely by divine appointment. Every one of us came here with something specific to do. And whatever it was of value. Whatever it is of value. So regardless of how long our lifespan is, regardless of how many people we come to meet or who we touch with our own unique gift, the reality is that each one of us came into this life to bring something. And whether we bring it to one person or 1 billion people is irrelevant. What's required is that we bring it, that we bring our light in our way to a world that is calling for love. Whenever I see any form of disconnection, I see it as a call to love. So if we were to love rather than fear, if we were to allow ourselves to be fully present in life as who we authentically are, without worrying about who likes us or who doesn't, who approves of our choices or who doesn't, but rather we allow ourselves to listen to the still small voice of the divine within and follow the prompts that we get. What happens is life gets easy. It gets easy. It gets beautiful. It is absolutely remarkable what occurs. So I invite you to explore your life experience. Notice if you're jumping from the shadows, if you're seeing things that make you fearful. And if so, I invite you to sit and settle. And maybe close your eyes and quiet your mind to just shut out the outside world. And breathe in deeply. As you acknowledge that there is just one power in the universe, one infinite intelligence, and it's present right here, right now, being you. Yes, it is right here, right now, being you. There is nothing to fear except fear itself. Let us go into a meditation. And I want to invite you to just close your eyes if you're comfortable. Place your feet flat on the floor. Relax your body. And take a deep breath in. And as you exhale slowly, just feel your body relax a little further. Another deep breath in. Slowly release. And in this place of relaxation, I invite you to imagine space. Empty space. Empty space, nothing in it, not a thing. Just this blank space. And as you relax into that nothingness, I invite you to go within and bring forth your gift. Visualize it in this blank space. Visualize every detail. Sights, sounds, smells. Bring it to life. Create an intention to be who you are every moment of every hour of every day. I am who I am. I am who I am. I am the divine presence of the Eternal One. It is in that knowing that as I move forward today, I do so with faith, with power, with presence. For I know that all that I am And all that I do comes from the one source, the one power, the one presence. And taking a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just allowing yourself to come more aware of this moment.